SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
When banking starts to feel less personal, you know where to find us. Community Bank. Deep roots, local people, personal banking. Visit communitybank.net. Member FDIC.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man.
Way past 21. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome in. It's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Man, it's good to be back home. It is good to be back home in the home studio with you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for starting your day with us. Thank you for making us part of your morning routine. I'm Richard Cross alongside Lance Tolbert, and we are pleased to be with you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your attitude, it sounds like you may have had a flight that you caught, you had no delays, and you got home and got a great night's sleep in your own bed for a change. Am I batting 1,000 here?
Flight was good, and got home. Part of my family was home. Youngest daughter's out of town for a couple of days with some friends. And, yeah, it was just kind of chill yesterday afternoon. Got a lot of work done on the plane, so didn't have to stay up super late last night. Got a solid night's sleep. I will tell you that when the alarm went off this morning, I wasn't entirely sure what planet I was on. And it was kind of like, ugh. I think Jane reached over and, like, kind of whacked me on the back or something. And I was like, oh, I got to get up. Coffee pot in my room, not having to do a hotel room coffee or race down to the lobby during a break. All of the things, yes.
Feeling good about yourself. I like it. It's a Wednesday, too. So, we got Country Western Wednesday rolling and a lot of baseball coming down the road.
You know what else we've got today?
What's that, man?
We got a text message right out of the gate. 601-879-4395, the C Spire text line. The one plan from C Spire is here, fiber home internet and wireless, only $99 a month for new and current C Spire customers. C Spire, customer inspired. Already got a message. Ed from New Hope. He says, it was the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusty Delta day. I don't ever remember that, but we've got a few people that absolutely 100% wake up. They're like, oh, it's Billy Joe McAllister Day.
Yeah, it is.
And if you think Lance didn't already have that in the rotation.
Well, I just kind of roll with it, man, on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't put them in until I have a feeling. You just kind of got to go with it. That one's definitely getting played today, though.
I got a feeling.
Yeah. That's where you got
you black-eyed P.
Man, you're on top of it today.
Black-eyed P.
Well rested, Richard Cross.
All right.
I love it, man.
Well-ish. There's still some catching up to do, but that's okay. What we got today? Corinth, how about 82 degrees for you, which is actually a little cooler than it has been. Low tonight right at 60. Going to be mostly sunny with a low chance of precipitation. Winds out of the east and southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear and pleasant with low humidity. By the way, I suppose if you read the weather often enough, you kind of get to a point where you understand some patterns and you see some things and you learn some things. I talked to Jane yesterday morning on my way to the airport. She said, man, it was so humid here yesterday. And I was like, hey, it should be a little bit better today. The wind's out of the north today, a little bit of a breeze out of the north ought to knock the humidity back. I got home last night. We were sitting on the back patio. She's like, man, that breeze is so nice. She's like, compared to yesterday. I was like, hey, Jane, remember what I told you this morning? Nailed it. Humidity was back, a little bit of a breeze. It was great.
Man, they need to get you on top of the weather forecasting next. I mean, golf, sports, political, daily fun, now weather. I mean, dude, you'll always have a job. There's no doubt about that.
I don't think I could do 6 and 10. Like, I might have room on my dance card for 6 o'clock weather, but I don't. Go ahead, just call me. We'll work something out. I'm not. I can't do Matt Lawbun's job or any of the other hardworking weather people.
I could do the Jim Cantori.
Oh, you know what I did, Lance?
Go for it.
I cut the grass last night. Got home and cut the grass. Man,
the
it
sun
needed
was
it.
Still out, huh?
Oh yeah. I was back in Oxford by 4.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, you were hustling to get out of there yesterday.
Yeah.
4 o'clock. That's great, man. I mean, I figured you were like reeling in at like 8 or something, and
no,
it was good.
No. Greenville, you 85 degrees today. 85 beautiful sunshiny degrees. Low chance of rain. Winds out of the east. Macomb, you're going to check in at about 86 with a mix of clouds and sun and a chance of strong thunderstorms. Sorry, that may not have been what you wanted to hear there. Light east-northeast wind at about 5 miles an hour. The higher rain chance exists for you than it does in other parts of the state, and it's going to feel humid and muggy. Ocean Springs, 81 for your high. Overnight low of 72. Mostly cloudy. Chance of showers and thunderstorms, 40 to 50%, especially this afternoon. Wind's going to be getting after it today in Ocean Springs. 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the east with gusts up to 25 miles an hour. It's going to be warm and humid.
Yeah.
Some of that rain in Ocean Springs may be heavy today also. So you may want to grab an umbrella or something to put over your head to keep your follicles dry if you get out and about.
The pattern that I've noticed mostly is you get no rain earlier in the week. It's super hot. As this week, it's kind of on repeat. It was just hotter. By the time you get to midweek, later in the week, you start getting that humidity coming back. The breeze blows, and you know that there's rain a-coming. And if you look at the forecast for the weekend, it was just like 4 weeks in a row, I believe, that we have rain forecasts around the state for the weekend. So,
yeah.
Hopefully it won't be too bad, though.
Hopefully not. There is a lot of baseball to be played.
Yes.
It wreaked havoc.
Man.
Last weekend.
Remember when Ole Miss went down to Miami? And it seemed like they weren't even going to get to finish.
Oh, yeah. There was like it was almost like a hurricane that just kind of was doing its thing and spinning. Jefferson Davis, born on this day in 1808, the American politician who served as president of the Confederate States of America during the Civil War. 1865, that's the day that King George V was born, the king of the UK and the British Dominions, and the Emperor of India. From 1910 until 1936.
The last emperor of India, huh?
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like that'd be a little spread out to keep an eye on everything?
I had a friend of mine that was a client, and he had a wife that was that lived and grew up in India, but she was English. Her parents had been in the English government and administrative element of India, and she had some really great stories. She was a phenomenal cook, too. Some of the most amazing spices she could put together, and goat curry was her specialty. But growing up there as an English person. And
it now?
Oh, man. I mean, the goat curry is amazing. If you've ever had it authentically made, it's one of the best dishes ever. But she was a bush pilot. She would fly in and out of Africa and take people to, their hunting grounds and everything. A fascinating person, but learning a little bit about how the English government and all that worked in India. It was a little testy, she said, by the time her parents were there. Or they didn't really want you there much anymore, I don't think. So,
yeah. I can imagine. Massive population country.
Man.
Penelope Wilton, born on this day in 1946, the British actress known for her roles in Downton Abbey, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, and Shaun of the Dead. Anderson Cooper was born in 1967. The journalist-ish, author and anchor and host on CNN. Curtis Mayfield, Curtis Mayfield, influential American soul and R&B singer and songwriter with songs like Superfly and People Get Ready. No longer with us. Miles Smith, born in 1998, rising British pop star.
Yeah, that one's. I'm not sure on that. I'm gonna have to.
Nor am I.
Yeah. The next one as well. I'm gonna have to look these up after the show.
I don't know here, but I was intrigued enough with the name that I decided,
awesome.
You know what, we're going to leave it in there. Born in the year 2000. Biba Doobie. The Filipino-British indie singer-songwriter.
Yeah, again, that was one I'm going to have to study up on there.
You know, somebody that's accomplished a bit more than Biba Doobie in their life. How about Rafael Nadal?
The man.
Spanish tennis legend, 22-time Grand Slam champion, widely regarded as one of the best ever. Larry McMurtry, born in 1936, lived with us until 2021, the Pulitzer Prize-winning American novelist who is responsible for Lonesome Dove.
Greatest Western trilogy of all time.
We're back with you after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, just getting started.
Trying to change nobody, he's just trying real hard to
Good morning from
The inside track on Mississippi politics. Yeah! Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
It was the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusty Delta day. I was out chopping cotton and my brother was baling hay. And at dinner time we stopped and we walked back to the house to eat. And Mama hollered out the back door, y'all remember to wipe your feet. And then she said, I got some news this morning from Choctaw Ridge. Today, Billy Joe McAllister's jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Glad to be with you alongside Lance Tolbert. Thanks for joining us. 1539. That was the year that Spanish explorer Hernando de Soto claimed Florida for Spain.
That was I love reading about that whole journey, meandering through the South, encountering all of these Indian, Native American civilizations, ones that would be very different than the other. And one would say, hey, yeah, these guys down here, y'all need to go see them. They got a bunch of food for you. Then they'd send a dude down the road in front of them and obviously tell the next tribe, hey, you don't want to deal with these guys too much. And there would be a battle. And they fought like that constantly, one after another. This little band of dudes dying left and right, malaria and all that. You got to imagine. I mean, I walked through the Delta with a good gun and all the good stuff. I can't imagine going on an adventure, an expedition such as that.
Without firearms.
No, I mean, they had a couple of guns, these musket-loaded things. And one of the weird things, he came very close to running into Coronado, but it was after he had passed. The adventure, the exploration, continued west after he died and almost ran into Coronado. They had no idea how close they were to each other or even that Coronado
was
over
there. Were they both
there.
searching for the Fountain of Youth?
Well, they were searching for gold, But no, De Soto was looking for other things, really like fame, fortune, and creating a country for himself almost.
Yeah. Well,
Coronado was looking for the 7 cities of Cibola, if I remember.
That's right.
They just kept telling him, keep going. The Indians kept pushing him into the Midwest even further, and they got further and further into the grasslands, and he finally said, I think we've been had.
If he had just gone a little bit farther and made it to the Rocky Mountains, he would have been like, this
Yeah, they
is
turned.
great.
That's the thing. They turned there. They kind of bent to the east, and the natives kept them out of the mountains, basically. Running them on a goose chase. They were smart.
Yeah. The Art Deco scene was not exactly hopping in Miami when Hernando de Soto landed.
No.
But he kind of laid the groundwork.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Colonel George Washington began construction of Fort Necessity in Pennsylvania during the lead-up to the French and Indian War on this day in 1754. 30 years later, the United States Army officially established by Congress, replacing the Continental Army. 1889, we skip ahead 105 years or so. The Canadian Pacific Railway is completed, linking Canada from coast to coast. That's a long stretch of train track.
A heck of a train ride there.
Yeah, no doubt. President Woodrow Wilson signed the National Defense Act, significantly expanding the National Guard on this day in 1916. In 1979, the Ixtoc-1 oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico blew out, causing one of the largest oil spills in history at the time, around 3 million barrels.
I think that was Pemex, the company who did that, if I recall. It was a big deal, yeah.
Yeah. 1989, Chinese troops crushed pro-democracy protests in Tiananmen Square, Beijing, resulting in hundreds and maybe thousands of deaths.
I believe Tim Waltz was, he had his pom-poms out there, didn't he?
He was administering CPR and helping the students in need.
Thought he was leading cheers.
1621, just rewinding a bit. The Dutch West India Company receives its charter for the West Indies and New Netherlands. You familiar with New Netherlands?
That's New York, right?
That would be present-day New York. The Rolling Stones began their first United States tour on this day in 1964. The year today, today's present, we're 2026.
Little did people know what was in store for them.
74, 84, 94, 04, 14, 24, 62 years later.
They're an amazing band. Goodness. The marketing side, too. I mean, you got the iconic imagery.
Iconic. I mean, Mick Jagger can't actually live forever, can he?
I don't know. They may have already cloned him.
How old is he? 80-something, right?
Yeah, and what was it? The Jones guy was one of the original members who passed early. But that group, has had such great longevity. Was it Danny Jones? Wasn't that his name?
I don't know. 82.
He was the blonde hair.
82. Mick Jagger, 82 years old. So he was 19 when they started touring in the United States.
The ultimate peacock, too. Love being in front of the camera.
And why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, with the boas and everything.
Yeah. All right, some news headlines for you this morning. The Mississippi Development Authority announced yesterday that the agency will begin accepting applications for the next round of the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund grants on June 1st. Applications will be accepted through July 31st, so you get 2 months on the application process. This started in 2018. The MGCR fund has provided funding to businesses and organizations looking to bring increased economic activity to the Gulf region. Eligible applicants include, but are not limited to local governments, non-governmental organizations, higher ed institutions, community colleges, ports, airports, etc. In 2016, Mississippi reached a $750 million settlement with BP following the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in April of 2010. The state received an initial payment of $150 million and continues to receive $40 million annually. That will run through 2033. with $30 million allocated to the GCRF each year. Economic growth in the 6 coast counties, George, Hancock, Harrison, Jackson, Pearl River, and Stone. Last year, the advisory board narrowed down and reviewed 89 submitted projects, which totaled more than $383 million in requests. They recommended the top 15. The final cut was made down to 9. And then you may remember there were a couple that were cut out through line item veto by the governor when it was all said. Took exception with 2 projects and line item vetoed $1.65 million in appropriations. One was for $1.5 million for the Ocean Springs and Public Works redevelopment and relocation phase 1 and 2. Then they cut out $150,000 for the Lucedale George County Historical Society and their museum. So if you want to apply this year, you've got until July 31st. Baptist Memorial Healthcare is continuing to expand its Mississippi footprint. The Memphis headquartered hospital system will soon take over a healthcare facility in Brandon and invest about $70 million to enhance its services. Rankin County supervisors yesterday unanimously approved a proposal for Merit Health Rankin, located in the Crossgate area of Brandon, to be transferred to Baptist as the sole leaseholder and operator in this second half of the year. It's a 134-bed community-oriented hospital currently operated by Brandon HMA, an affiliate of Community Health Systems. Hospital currently offers a broad range of diagnostic, emergency, patient, inpatient, geriatric, behavioral health services. They've got an 18-bed senior care program. Baptist is committed to keeping the more than 175 employees who are currently in good standing. Baptist boasts itself as the largest healthcare network in Mississippi with 14 hospitals in the state. Since 2016, they've added 9 hospitals through mergers, acquisitions, and organic growth, including Oktibbeha County Regional and Anderson Regional in Meridian. Hang with us. We got a couple more news headlines for you, including you got to steer clear, but let people know about the hammerhead worm. We're back after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Take my pain away.
Keeping Mississippi in the know, one morning at a time. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Smoke kinda hangs in the air. Rednecks, white socks, and blue ribbon beer. A cowboy's cussing the pinball machine. A drunk at the bar is getting noisy and mean. And some guy on the phone says, I'll be home soon, dear. Rednecks, white socks, and blue ribbon beer.
Mornings with Richard Cross is presented by Community. Online at by Community Bank, I should say, online at communitybank.net. Bank local, bank community. The Mississippi State Extension Service is warning producers to be on the lookout for hammerhead worms after one of the invasive pests was recently spotted in Warren County. You heard of hammerhead worms before?
No, but our land is just north of there.
Mississippi State's Warren County Extension Office, according to them, hammerhead worms, which can grow up to a foot long, are known for their distinctive shovel or hammer-shaped heads. They pose concerns because they prey on earthworms, which are critical for healthy soils and productive gardens and farms. Dr. Jermaine Perrier, an entomologist specializing in vegetables, fruits, and nuts, warned residents not to handle the hammerhead worms with their bare hands. Why? Because their mucus can be an irritant, and some species produce neurotoxins. Perrier recommends using gloves or another barrier when disposing of hammerhead worms and cautioned that trying to kill them with a shovel is no bueno because they can regenerate from body fragments. Instead, should you find one, you should place the hammerhead worm in an airtight container to prevent escape before attempting disposal. To kill the worms, you can add salt, like they're a slug, or soapy water to the container. Leave it in direct sunlight, just let them dry out, or soak the worms in ethanol, alcohol, or hand sanitizer.
I think I may just blowtorch them.
You could do that also. So, put them in a bucket, pour a Bud Heavy over them, and put the lid on it. Hammerhead worms are invasive to the U.S. Some species haven't been documented in the country as early as 1891. And if you find one, please report it through the Early Detection and Distribution Mapping System online so that researchers can monitor their spread. And finally, free fishing days are returning to Mississippi. The Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks has announced that folks can... Excuse me.
You're moving faster than I could move there. Sorry.
Yeah, I hit the cough button, I think. You can cast rods and reels at all public bodies of water in Mississippi without worrying about having a license on June 6th and June 7th. It's a special occasion that corresponds with the National Fishing and Boating Week festivities that run from June 6th through the 14th. You can go fishing in the dark on public land if you want.
Yeah, I got knocked out of a boat by something. Big fish jumped out of the bayou. And it was pitch dark. I was a couple of years ago fishing at midnight, out there having a good time. And it's cool, middle of the summer.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know what kind of fish it was, but only the silhouette I could see in the water as it flew across in front of me. And it was a monster. And, it was kind of one of those moments where you're like, I didn't know we had something like that in these lakes. But, you see fish jump all the time and plop back down. But this thing cleared the boat. I mean, one side of it to the other. And I really thought it was going to hit me in the head. But never caught that big day.
You think it was one of those flying...
I don't know what it was. I mean, the lake was pretty full of perch at the time. So I thought it may just be a huge slab. But I'd never seen one behave like that. Been looking for that one for a long time now.
Hadn't found him.
Mm-mm. But I think, as one of our listeners said, it could have been an Asian carp, which we have quite a few in there.
Yeah.
And I've seen them as the water comes up and starts going over the road. You can go out there and grab those things. I mean, they're huge. Absolutely.
We have a lake adjacent to our neighborhood. Not a pond, but a lake. And there are a bunch of carp in it.
Yeah.
And, man, the kids love catching those things.
A couple game wards told me they've been to some fish fries where they've had only table type of fish that you would normally eat, such as gar, Asian carp, the drum, and buffalo, and cooked right. They're like, man, this stuff's amazing. I was like, really? Yeah. They're like, yep.
I would not eat the ones in our neighborhood.
Yeah, no.
Lake.
These are pretty. I mean, the Asian carps. I mean, they're huge too.
Yeah.
You wonder, and especially the buffalo too, down at Still Bayou. I've never seen anything like it. Where you go down there at the right time, there's hundreds of millions of them just sitting there bubbling up. You can throw a net out there and catch all you want.
We got a message. Somebody said it's the old elusive midnight carp.
Yeah, I think I assumed it might have been a carp, but I just never saw it that good. I just felt it,
Yeah,
whiz by. It's like a high heater coming through.
You know what the bait of choice is for the carp in our neighborhood?
A string, isn't it?
Dough balls.
Dough balls, yes. You can get them with strings, or you can do that with gar. I know you can throw some rope out. I've caught some, get them all hung up in some rope. Gar balls, okay. Gotcha.
A delicacy, someone says.
Yes, they'd have to be.
Yeah. We need to get to the morning sports update brought to you by Pearl River Resort, online at pearlriverresort.com. Pearl River Resort, your home for family fun, casino thrills, and live entertainment. Don't forget, you can book your tee time for the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. A couple of courses there. You can choose from the Oaks or the Azaleas. DancingRabbitGolf.com is the website where you book your tee time. Dancing Rabbit, part of Pearl River Resort. We have dates and times for the super regional matchups. It all gets started Friday morning at 11 o'clock when the number 16 seed West Virginia hosts Cal Poly in Morgantown. At 4 o'clock on ESPNU, Troy and Little Rock will meet in Troy, Alabama in a super regional matchup. One of those teams is going to the College World Series. North Carolina and Southern Cal on Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock on ESPN2 from Chapel Hill. And then at 7 o'clock on Friday night, it's Ole Miss and the number 4 seed Auburn from the Plains. 7 o'clock Friday night, and then on Saturday afternoon at 4 for Game 2. Game time for Game 3 of the series, if necessary, to be determined. That's the left side of the bracket, meaning that the winners will meet in first-round games and early games in Omaha. On the right side of the bracket, starting on Saturday at 5 o'clock, you've got Kansas and Oklahoma. At 8 o'clock Saturday night, Alabama and St. John's from Tuscaloosa. At 7 o'clock on ESPN on Saturday night, it's Texas and Oregon. And the baseball is going to start early for Mississippi State. 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock in the East. The number 3 seed Georgia and the number 14 seed Mississippi State. So the right side of the bracket where Mississippi State is, you have 6 of the 8 teams are national seeds. So compared to the left side of the bracket where only 3 of the 8 seeds are 3 of the 8 teams are national seeds. Ole Miss front and center in college sports once again with star running back Kewan Lacey featured as a cover athlete on the new College Football 27 video game from EA Sports. EA teased fans with the game's cover yesterday in anticipation of the release that so many people talk about. Kewan Lacey, one of 3 players on the cover of the video game, alongside wide receiver from Miami, Malachi Toney, and Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. Last year, Lacey was a breakout star. 1,567 rushing yards, 24 touchdowns, big workload, 306 carries for him. He was top 5 in all 3 of those categories. Kewan Lacey was Ole Miss's first ever Doak Walker Award finalist. Played a huge role in Ole Miss's run in the college football playoff a year ago that featured wins over Tulane and Georgia before ultimately losing in the Fiesta Bowl to Miami. Then finally, the Stanley Cup Finals got underway last night. Tomas Hertl took a backhand pass from Colton Sisson and beat Frederick Anderson from the slot with 3:24 left in the game, lifting the Vegas Golden Knights past the Carolina Hurricanes 5-4 in the opener of the Stanley Cup Final. Hertl's finish off of Sisson's feed from the right, face-off circle, broke a 4-4 tie, pushed the Golden Knights ahead in an entertaining back-and-forth game. It was the seventh straight win in the playoffs for the Golden Knights. They are playing well. Game 2 coming up tomorrow night from Raleigh. Vegas has already taken home ice away from the Hurricanes as it chases a second Stanley Cup title in 4 seasons. And the NBA Finals begin tonight. The New York Knicks in San Antonio to take on the San Antonio Spurs. That is your sports update on this Wednesday morning, middle of the week, June 3rd, 2026. We're back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Good morning.
Know where the news is going next. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Time for your Mississippi Lottery update, brought to you by the Mississippi Lottery, online at mslottery.com. Don't forget to download the Mississippi Lottery app to keep up with all that's happening at the Mississippi Lottery. That Lotto America jackpot keeps growing. It's up to $28,270,000 with an estimated cash value of $12,630,000. You have a Powerball jackpot coming tonight that is at $194 million, nearly $87 million for the estimated cash value. No jackpot winner last night on the Mega Millions drawing, which means Friday's drawing will be for $368 million with an estimated cash value of $163,600,000. Lance, I'm going to need you not to win that. Not that I don't want you to, but I would be sad to see you go, and I don't think you would come back.
Oh, I would do it. I'd be like Perez. I would work with you, and I enjoy doing this.
I don't believe you.
I would do it for free, though. That would be my community service.
I don't believe you. I don't think you would continue to not sleep and get up at the crack of dawn to talk with me on the radio.
I don't know, man. I enjoy it.
With $95 million in the bank.
We don't get paid like Elon Musk anyway, so you got to love what you do. And I mean, truly, best job I've ever had as far as loving what I do, loving the people I work with, and getting to get up every day and do this. Man, you can't beat it. I love Mississippi, too, so.
As do I. And there are lots of good things that I could do for Mississippi with $95 million.
That's what I'm saying. I'd probably log the 3 hours and then get to work, doing something else in the latter half of the day. But yeah, I don't think I'd give it up as far as something I love to do. But depending on the income, that would be nice to be independent. Independent wealth would be wonderful.
You might use your vacation time a little more liberally.
I have not even used vacation, I don't think.
That's kind of the point.
I don't even know. I know I have it, but I'd probably log some vacation time. Hit the camp a little bit more. Get an airboat. That would be my first purchase.
Airboat.
Yeah, airboat. Then I'd do a double dually to pull it. Get the front axle doubled up and, invent some stuff. Have some fun.
What would you invent?
Well, I'd like to have a double dually. That would be one. I want... put the biggest airplane engine in it you can. I've seen some. If you're wealthy, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you better keep working because I think that money would be gone in a hurry.
$95 million go quick, huh? Boom. Yeah, boom, gone. I'd have to have a pilot and a plane. You want to have that stuff too.
Why is there a 747 engine in this F-650?
My buddy of mine, he's a good friend. Michael works here. He's my mechanic, and he's also just a wonderful guy. And grew up in that world of building stuff and fixing stuff. And we always have these. We'll put our brains together and see what kind of crazy stuff we could come up with. And yes, one of the things I really want to do is have a jet engine in a vehicle.
You sure that that would plug into the drivetrain the way it's supposed to?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not the mechanic.
Yeah,
if you have the money, you hire those guys.
Election day in a bunch of states yesterday, probably none more fascinating than the state of California, though Iowans went to the polls as well, as did New Jerseyans. The all-party governor primary in California seems to be set. In the runoff, you are headed toward a race between Steve Hilton, the Republican, who got 27.8% of the vote, almost 4 million votes, 1.4 million, and Xavier Becerra, the Democrat, got a little over 25%. Just shy of 1.3 million votes. Tom Steyer, Democrat, the third place candidate at 979,000 votes. Then other candidates spread about 1.3 million votes. So Steve Hilton and Xavier Becerra appear to be headed for a runoff, though California officials remind you that there are a lot of votes still coming in. While the governor, the crowded field to replace Gavin Newsom, That, by the way, is with 58% of the votes counted. The mayor of Los Angeles race is the one that got the most media attention. 3 primary candidates Karen Bass, the incumbent mayor, Nithya Raman, the Democratic Socialist, and Spencer Pratt, who is a very moderate Republican. Karen Bass got just shy of 35% of the vote, 172,000 votes and change. Spencer Pratt was next at 30.5% at 151,000 votes, which means unless something shady happens, which is altogether possible, you're going to have a mayoral runoff in the November general election. I guess it's not a runoff. I guess those will just be the two names on the ballot. Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt for mayor of Los Angeles. Pratt told Bill Maher, I just want to enforce our laws. You shouldn't have people smoking blunts in front of kids at the park.
Mm-hmm.
Back with you after this. That seems reasonable.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
No filibuster. Just everything you need to know to start your day smarter. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
ICC is a ticking on down the line. Well, I'm a little overweight and my logbook's way behind. But nothing bothers me tonight. I can dodge all the scales all right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Well, my rig's a little old, but that don't mean she's slow. There's a flame from a stack and that smoke's blowing black.
Thanks for joining us. It is Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. Thanks for joining us. You can be part of the conversation on the C Spire text line. The number is 601-879-4395. The One Plan from C Spire is here. Fiber home internet and wireless, only $99 a month for new and current C Spire customers. One plan, one price, one experience, zero compromise. Get started now at cspire.com/oneplan. C Spire, customer inspired. Mornings is presented by Community Bank. At Community Bank, we're more than just a place to manage your money. We're your neighbors, your partners, and your trusted financial advisors. For decades, we've been rooted in our community, helping families, small businesses, and individuals achieve their dreams. Whether it's opening your first savings account, planning for a brighter future, or growing your business, we're here every step of the way. We're dedicated to our customers, committed to your success, and always here when you need us. Community Bank, rooted in our community. Member FDIC. Pleasure to be with you. You can join the conversation again at 601-879-4395. Coming up in a little while, about half an hour from right now, we will be joined by Ryan Miller. He is the CEO of Oxford Lafayette, Inc., economic development arm for Oxford and Lafayette County. We'll talk with him about what is happening on the economic development front in North Mississippi. And then to start the 8 o'clock hour, a geologist who works at the University of Mississippi and is involved in a lot of really, really cool stuff. Dr. Leonard Macelloni. And you may have seen the report about critical minerals in the state of Mississippi. We're going to learn more about what is going on there, the discovery, and how the state of Mississippi may be able to leverage some of those critical minerals, especially as it pertains to lithium in the years to come. So that is on the way. If the Jackson water crisis was a book, I don't know that it's still a water crisis, but that's still what we refer to it as from a couple of years ago. It would be a long book, and it would have a lot of chapters. And it would be a book that had a bunch of different storylines in it. You would have the initial storyline that People were not getting water bills, but also weren't really receiving what they weren't paying for. Think about that.
Yeah, exactly.
They really weren't receiving what they weren't paying for. You would have had the catastrophe itself with the brown water and the low pressure and the water going out. You would have the story of trying to fix that. And then you would have the story over how do you keep this from happening again in the future. Well, part of what the legislature has done is put together this board going forward that the city of Jackson and Mayor John Horn have pushed back against. In fact, they sued over this. A controversial state-created water authority set to take over Jackson's water and sewer system is now limited by a partial federal injunction that was announced on Monday. The Metro Jackson Water Authority, by design, would only take over after the end of the ongoing federal receivership. District Court Judge Henry Wingate granted in part and denied in part a request from the city to enjoin the water authority moving forward. State lawmakers created the water authority under House Bill 1677 this past legislative session. From that, a 9-member board would be appointed to run the new utility with appointees from state and local officials. Jackson leaders have protested the law for not giving the city a majority of the appointees. Their argument is, it's our water system, they're our assets, we should have the most representation on the board so that we can ultimately make the decisions that are best for Jackson going forward. Under the injunction that was ordered earlier this week, the authority and its board cannot take any action other than appointing and seating board members. In the order from Wingate, it said, the authority may not at this time select a board president unless and until this court gives approval. The authority shall enact no regulatory measures, finalize no lease agreements, issue no bonds, and assume no managerial influence or deputy control over Jackson's water and sewer systems unless and until this court explicitly alters this decree or determines to relinquish its ongoing authority over the systems. So Henry Wingate said, you can have your board. These board members can even put on their resume that they are part of the Jackson Water Authority Board, but it is ceremonial only at this time. As things stand, the judge wrote that House Bill 1677 does not interfere with his 2022 order because it only takes effect once the court allows Ted Hennepin and his company, JXN, Jackson Water, to step down. Moreover, Judge Wingate could reject the Metro Jackson Water Authority altogether. As his opinion went on, he wrote, the state law, in this court's eye, simply stands as an unexecuted contingency, a structure waiting in the wings. If this court decides to reject the authority as a viable successor entity within the final transition framework, the authority cannot assume control. But then Judge Wingate pointed to 3 ways that the Water Authority law attempts to encroach upon his rule overseeing Jackson's utilities. By creating a specific governance model, the state law attempts to narrow the options for a succession plan available to the court. That's number 1. Number 2, the state law, House Bill 1677, says that the president of the Jackson Water Authority would serve as Hennepin's deputy, disrupting the inner management of Jackson Water. And the third issue is that the state law requires the authority to immediately negotiate a lease of the water and sewer assets with the city, in addition to allowing the authority to issue bonds as soon as July 1st of this year. Such actions would, quote, unquote, infringe upon the court's rule overseeing the utility system's finances. So again, yes, this board may exist. However, it may not do anything. In that part of the opinion, Wingate wrote, this court is persuaded that the potential insertion of a state-appointed official into the operational hierarchy of the third-party manager risks creating an administrative dichotomy that could fracture the unified command necessary to rehabilitate Jackson's infrastructure. Officials so far have named most of the 9 board members. Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hoseman chose Jackson businessman Sandy Carter. City of Ridgeland named its city engineer Paul Forster to the board. Byram chose an engineer from WGK, Tremone Smith. Mayor Horn selected Daniel Walker, a water treatment professional, as well as Austin Barber, who works in the political space, and Jackson businesswoman Shirley Tucker. However, the Jackson City Council has yet to confirm the mayor's picks. Tate Reeves, for his part, has said, this is not a direct quote, what's the point? Why am I going to appoint members to a board that can't do anything? We'll wait and see what the injunction looks like going forward. And then there's a 9th board member that Reeves and Horn would appoint together. We get a message on the C Spire text line that says Wingate thinks he's king. Well, in this case, he kind of is. Yes, you may have your board, but the people that I put in charge, the third party that's overseeing this, well, they're the group that's going to do something. Newest chapter in the Jackson water, let's not call it a crisis anymore. The Jackson water fiasco.
Long form, yeah.
A lot of power players. Right now it's Judge Wingate flexing his muscle. More coming up with you. We've got a couple of states in the Southeast who are moving forward with new voting lines.
Now it's come to what you want to.
Good morning.
Pour yourself a cup of coffee and get the Magnolia State's most important news of the day. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Have mercy on me when it comes to crossing the good golly woman. That just scares the devil right out of me.
An observation from Thomas on the C Spire text line that I don't disagree with. Lots of jockeying for a utility board.
I bet they don't wear as cool of uniforms as the jockeys, though.
What if they made the 9 appointed members wear silks?
It's a really good point too. And whoever gets the autobiography of of the utility board, like we were just saying in break. I mean, this is long form. I mean, this story is ongoing, and I don't see it coming to an end anytime soon.
It is voluminous.
Yes, I mean it'll go on forever. It seems. I hope it doesn't. But as long as I've been sitting in this chair, this has been going on, and for years before. Like to see some resolution at some point. I know the Jacksonians are extremely.
My best guess, Lance, is that what Jacksonians really want is that when they walk to the kitchen sink and they turn the knob or they lift the handle, water comes out and it's not brown.
Yeah, and then,
and it has pressure.
And I don't think any of them would mind paying for what they use in the long run.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but I mean,
there's some that would prefer not to.
Yeah, but if it's fixed and once they get all this stuff, orderly, again, they were billing people $50,000 for stuff, and they're like, "What are you talking about?"
And also billing people
nothing. Yeah, so I mean, it's been a mess, and I have all the hope and praying for John Horn and the crew there to get it done right because it's been going on too long.
Paul and Hernando says, can we get the courts out of our hair at every turn that we're trying to do things?
We are a litigious society.
I mean, you literally took the exact words out of my mouth. We are a litigious society at every single turn. I mean, everywhere. In the way that we get our water, in the way that we elect our politicians, in the way that we enact orders, and I mean, we've gotten away from legislation and just gone to executive orders at the presidential level.
And some of those are backfiring.
In our sports, and in our voting. Louisiana lawmakers passed a new congressional map on Friday designed to help Republicans pick up a seat while eliminating one of the state's two majority black House districts, both of which are represented by Democrats. Approval of the new map came a month after the United States Supreme Court struck down the state's current map as an illegal racial gerrymander, which it was, weakening the landmark 1965 Federal Voting Rights Act. The decision intensified a national redistricting battle fueled by President Donald Trump's effort to protect Republicans' slim House majority in the midterm elections. Louisiana, one of several southern states, now redrawing their maps to help Republicans. Louisiana Republicans had toyed with the idea of trying to draw a map that would give the party a shot at winning all 6 of the state's U.S. House seats, but that would have required adding more black voters to Republican-held districts, potentially backfiring with GOP losses. Not entirely unlike the conversation that we have had surrounding redistricting in Mississippi. The Louisiana State Senate on Friday approved the new map in a 28-10 vote, and it reflected Republican arguments that a 5-1 map is safer for the GOP overall and better protects United States Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who is from Louisiana, from facing a difficult reelection. Republicans currently hold 4 of Louisiana's 6 congressional seats. They debated the bill for about half an hour before the vote, and ultimately the bill's sponsor, Republican State Senator Jay Morris, this is in Louisiana, insisted that party affiliation, not race, drove district boundaries. He said, quote, "I purposely put more Democrats into District 2 to make the remaining districts better performing for Republicans." And if that sounds like something like, you can't do that, actually that's exactly what you can do. Lines can be drawn based on party affiliation. They just cannot be drawn based on race. And that is, to me, what seems to get lost. You may think that that statement in and of itself is ridiculous. You may think that it would make a whole lot more sense. Perhaps even I think that you should say, district lines should be drawn based on population. Period. District lines should make sense. Period. Cities, counties should be contiguous, which I guess they are, but contiguous and geographically reasonable or sensical maybe would make sense. That's not what the law says. Lines can be drawn based on political affiliation. They just cannot be drawn along race. And when you look at that district line that snaked from northwest to southeast Louisiana and just kind of randomly turned here and there to pick up a few votes or to pick up a few neighborhoods along the way, it very clearly was drawn along racial lines. And that was the crux of the argument in Calais versus Louisiana. But it is not just Louisiana that is moving forward with a new map. The Supreme Court of the United States okayed Alabama's new maps for this midterm election cycle. Yesterday, the Supreme Court cleared the way for Alabama Republicans to remove the state's second majority black congressional district for the midterms, handing the party what appears to be a pickup of a seat in a 6-3 SCOTUS vote. Alabama chastised a lower court for keeping its map blocked, insisting it should move ahead. In the wake of the Supreme Court narrowing the Voting Rights Act, the justice's emergency order allowed Republicans to do so over the objection of black voters and other challengers who contended the design should be halted for an independent reason, and it was too late for the Supreme Court to intervene. The justices wrote in their unsigned ruling, while federal courts should not impose changes close to an election, states are free to decide for themselves whether last-minute changes to an election are in their best interests. As you would expect, the 3 liberal judges on the Supreme Court dissented in the opinion. Sonia Sotomayor wrote, now the court is squarely faced with a record of the turmoil it has caused and the harm it has wrought. Elena Kagan and Ketanji Brown Jackson concurred with the dissent. She went on to write, yet just as Alabama doubled down on racial discrimination, the court today doubles down on chaos because I choose to defend the rule of law and the right of Alabamians to participate equally in democracy. I respectfully dissent. She and others are going to continue to beat that drum, that the changing of these voting lines is racial discrimination. It is not racial discrimination. It's not. You know what it is? It is political discrimination.
Yeah, don't ruin the story, though, man. Come on.
I understand. I have no problem with the word discrimination, but it is not racial discrimination. It is not discrimination based on the color of one's skin. It is discrimination based on the political party of one's choosing. It's silly, but that's the law. And when someone throws that in your face, oh, they're racially gerrymandering. No, they are not. They're not doing that in Louisiana. They're not doing that in Alabama. They're not even doing that in California or Illinois or Virginia. It's not racial discrimination. It's political discrimination, which is allowed by the law. Period. And Democrats, to their dying day, are going to scream, race, 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 Jim Crow, race, Jim Crow. You're a racist. No. The Voting Rights Act clearly says that voting lines may not be drawn based on racial boundaries. There is a lesson in this. You are familiar with the golden rule, right? Everybody knows the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. If you are the political party in power and you go through the proper process, which is what, and Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann pointed this out yesterday, what Mississippi is determined to do is to go through the proper process so that it stands up legally. If you're the party in power, you have the right to do this.
Shaping Mississippi politics each morning. Mornings with Richard Cross. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can't never tell. And who's gonna make me a big star? 'Cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you come to see me in the movie.
This hour of mornings is brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services, plus a custom plan that fits you. Give them a call today, 601-206-7966, or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. Thanks for joining us this morning. Happy to be joined by my first guest welcome in our first guest. That is Ryan Miller, who is CEO of the Oxford-Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation, recently rebranded as Oxford Lafayette, Inc. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Doing well, man. Good to be with you. What is going on in the EDF world in North Mississippi, specifically in your office?
Got a lot going on. I just recently wrote a guest article for the Mississippi Business Journal where I kind of highlighted some of the successes or some of the progress that we're making in our office towards bringing new and creative jobs here to our community and growing existing industries here that we know mean a lot to our community. So we got a great deal going on, and excited to be here this morning to tell you about it.
So much of the conversation around economic development, not just in Mississippi and really not just in the Southeast, but nationally, has been around AI. And there are certainly advocates for huge data centers that are kind of creating the compute power necessary to power all of the AI entities that are out there. Mississippi has certainly taken advantage of some of those opportunities. There are people that are against that. Where do Oxford and Lafayette County fit into the AI landscape?
Well, I see AI, and I think largely, our office sees it as an amazing horizon tool. And I think that the challenge is trying to figure out all the applications for something like AI that can be used as a tool to enhance what we do, but not replace who we are. And I think that's the main concern that a lot of people have. But here locally, we have a number of companies that are using AI to grow the services that they provide, thus creating new jobs. I know you've talked with Joe Stradinger and Edge Theory. They've put their headquarters here in Oxford, Mississippi, because they have really bright, creative, innovative thinkers right across the street at the University of Mississippi. And I know they have collaborations with other universities as well, but they see it as a tool that's being used against us, but also as a tool that can be used to help defend our nation, keep us certainly cognizant of what our adversaries across the globe are doing in terms of lobbing narrative stories our way to influence our way of life. That's an AI tool that's being used to help provide for defense in our national security. And they've made their home right here. In fact, Edge Theory here recently announced that they're going to be investing $6.5 million into our community in narrative intelligence, artificial intelligence training for young people to learn how to be modern, narrant, intelligent officers, people who can decipher what our adversaries are crafting in the world of storytelling to try to influence our country. That's one example. Why Data is another group that's a startup that has decided to make Oxford and Lafayette County their home. They use AI to help provide consulting services to business, looking at supply chains, looking at logistics, using AI to be able to help predict where companies can pivot if there's a disruption in some of their business operations. They can use it as a tool. So it is a tool. But I certainly understand people's fear and trepidation over things that we don't quite fully understand where it's going, and AI is not going anywhere. I think the application of it, the use of it's only going to grow.
I think about this, and I may be erring in my thinking. When in the past, one of the biggest economic development projects that any region could land would be an automobile manufacturer. And that manufacturing plant in and of itself is a huge win, but maybe the bigger long-term win for a community was all the suppliers that went along with it. So it's like you have this one big cog in the middle of the wheel, but then all of these spokes that come out of it, and you end up with lots of jobs for lots of different types of people. I'm curious if artificial intelligence in maybe this version of economic development is kind of the cog in the middle of the wheel, and then companies that have learned or are learning to use AI tools become the spokes, and that kind of can spawn a lot of different jobs, maybe across multiple industries.
Oh, there's no doubt. And of course, here in Oxford and Lafayette County, we have to look at the hub and spoke context because, again, as I've shared with you before in previous times together, we don't have the population density to land a 2,000 employee automotive manufacturing facility here. It's not to say that we wouldn't regionally go after that as a partnership, but we've got to look at some of these newer, higher tech, as I used to say, new horizon thinking industries, and AI is one of those. Pegasus mortgage technology. I think you're probably familiar with Jeffrey Little. He spent time there at FNC and certainly with collaborations with M-Trade. They have their Pegasus mortgage technology company that's about to blow up. It is it's using AI as a tool to help inform and advocate for mortgage assessments for banks, just like some of the other industries that we have here. And what they plan on doing is launching this platform and then building up partnerships, businesses, and collaborations around it. So it's essentially creating that cluster, that hub and spoke that you're describing. But again, it's an AI platform that they have developed and have specifically tailored to their needs that, they've already doubled in size since the time they landed at Insight Park across the hall from us. So they're growing, using that as a tool. And I see that as a great example. More industry is going to figure out ways to use it in ways that enhance and augment the services that we provide. But I can understand some people have some fear and trepidation. They don't want it to replace everything. And being a singer-songwriter, AI is a great tool for being creative and how you maybe arrange a song or maybe come up with ideas for production value, but you don't want it to replace the art of creating the story. And I think that's where the fine balance has to be struck.
Which AI platform is best for writing and helping inspire in music? Is it Claude? Is it Grok? Is it Gemini? Which one is the? That's three brand names right there. Our band names.
I use Suno, SUNO. I've been able to upload a ton of my songs that I have saved on my iPhone, just ramblings over the years, to help me arrange the song. So I'm not publishing them. I'm not putting them out there, but they do help you come up with, I want this song in this style with this type of instrumentation. It's amazing what it can do very quickly.
Ryan, one of the things that we've talked about a lot through the years, really, is regional partnerships. And Lafayette County, in conjunction with Panola, Tate, and Yalobusha County, has developed one of those regional partnerships. You've given us some periodic updates of what's going on. I know there's a board that has been put together, and you're kind of examining opportunities. Where is that?
Well, obviously, we continue to meet on a monthly basis. There's kind of two contexts. Obviously, there's the business attraction that we work, the folks in Tate and Panola and down in Yalobusha, we work together. I just came back from Select USA, an event in the greater Washington area that was started under the Obama administration, but it's continued to grow. And it's an entire conference based upon direct foreign investment. So Mississippi had a delegation there. We met with, from Monday through Wednesday, I can't even tell you how many companies from all around the world, all around the world, that have interest in bringing investment to the state of Mississippi. And those are projects largely that would be best suited for a regional context, large scale, high tech, needing to be in proximity to the interstate, needing to be in proximity to an airport, having rail access. And so as a regional footprint, those kinds of events are really important. And we already have a number of leads from that event that we're following up with for a regional context. But I will share this. One exciting project that we have undertaken is an airport feasibility study, a regional airport feasibility study, to determine if specifically if the airport in Batesville in Panola County can be utilized, expanded, augmented, and grown to service a much larger regional footprint for commercial traffic. We think it can. In fact, the initial reports we have back is that there's a population density that would greatly benefit from that. That would prevent us from having to drive 70 some odd miles to Memphis, where you could drive only 25 miles and catch a flight to DC or Dallas or Charlotte. So that project is underway, and we're aggressively pursuing a regional airport in our neighboring county.
You have piqued my interest. Let's talk a little bit more about that on the other side of this time out. It's Mornings with Richard Cross On SuperTalk Mississippi, we're visiting with Ryan Miller, CEO of the Oxford-Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation. That is Oxford Lafayette, Inc. We're back with you right after this.
Maybe I'm not known for doing a lot, but I do my best work when the weather's hot. I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
Good morning from the
Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk Mississippi.
What else?
And always on the Super Talk app.
Good to be with you this morning. It's Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. Bank local, bank community. Ryan Miller is my guest, CEO of Oxford Lafayette, Inc. That is the Economic Development Foundation for Oxford and Lafayette County. You mentioned something right before the break, and it really piqued my interest and probably that of others. People who fly a lot, and I don't know if I fly a lot, but I fly regularly, are used to making that drive from Oxford to Memphis. You can either go through Holly Springs, or you can go through Batesville, and, it takes just a touch over an hour. I did something this past week that I had never done before, which is take the flight on Contour Airlines, which is affiliated with American, from Tupelo to Dallas, and then jumped on a connection from Dallas to College Station this past week. But you're saying Batesville is a possibility going forward.
Yeah, we're again, as a regional alliance of the four counties, that have proximity to I-55 and understanding the important thoroughfare that provides, the instrumentalities of interstate commerce are rich there. But it's also, when you consider the university and its growth trajectory, the airport here in Oxford is somewhat landlocked, and expanding that would be cost prohibitive and would take a great deal of time. As we've learned, expanding an existing airport or runway to make it eligible or available for larger aircraft, and getting it certified and designated by the FAA takes twice or half the time that doing a new greenfield airport, and costs approximately half the amount of money. So while I don't know the total cost of what this would look like, that's why we have this feasibility study underway. We do think the proximity to I-55, we do think the proximity to a growing college town, to have access right down the road to a larger airport that allows for not just for student and family traffic coming in for university events, but it certainly allows for area industry. We polled businesses, industries, businessmen and women who fly a lot, and all of them responded fairly favorably that having something closer to us than Memphis that would offer flights to a series of destinations would be something that would be worth pursuing.
Ryan, the comp that I immediately think of is the Fayetteville/Northwest Arkansas model. There's an old airport in Fayetteville that existed and still exists. It's called Drake Field, and it's really close to the University of Arkansas campus. But as Northwest Arkansas was exploding, as Walmart was growing and Tyson Foods and J.B. Hunt and all those others, they built XNA, which is the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport, and it's about 40 minutes, maybe half an hour from downtown Fayetteville to XNA. But the ability to fly in and out of Northwest Arkansas is incredible. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think so. And, certainly you would have to spend a little more time examining their airport and kind of the services they provide. But, yeah, I think arguably that is. We see this regional footprint is growing. And I think population density continues to come into our area, where so many other parts of the state see, population dwindling or flat. We still see precipitous growth here in our region. And because of kind of what we're trying to go after collectively for industries and businesses, we see the need for something like that as more palpable than ever. And we're excited to see where it's going. Obviously, we're still in that feasibility stage, but we're moving the ball down the field pretty quickly. And I do think that it will open up a lot of other opportunities that maybe we haven't had access to before.
There are federal subsidies that are available for low-cost carriers to get to somewhat rural locations. Is that part of the equation here?
Yeah, I think we're still keeping those options open as to whether it's a local courier. A lot of major airlines seem to be drawing down or drawing back on some of their regional footprints, and then you have some other carriers that are expanding. So whether it's a Delta or an American or a United or a Contour like format, we're trying to keep those options open, but there's no mistake that the idea is trying to give access to major markets for our region a little bit more accessibly.
Yeah. Only 90 seconds left. We get a question on the C Spire text line about affordable housing. How much is that on your radar? The cost of real estate in Oxford and Lafayette County it's very expensive. It's hard for people that are just starting out. Is there any sort of process that you're looking at to try to create more affordable opportunities?
Yeah, actually, within our organization, we call them action teams, are looking at ways to create perhaps even 501c3s that would allow for us to create a funding source to help people find or subsidize some of their initial rent if they're leasing property, so that can ease them into the market. We're exploring ideas like that, as well as working with developers to find ways in which we might identify land where they can build houses, quality homes, accessible homes for a little bit less than what the market rate is at the moment. So we deal with that every day. It's not something we can control, but it's certainly something we have a voice in.
Ryan, appreciate your time very much. Always good to catch up.
Likewise, Richard. Appreciate y'all.
Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi. Back with you after this.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Welcome back. Mornings with Richard Cross, presented by Community Bank. Glad to be with you. There was a report that came out about a week ago, and I have not ignored it, but we have intentionally not discussed it. It was the Mississippi Natural Resources Summit report. And the report centers around Mississippi as a potential stronghold for critical minerals development in the United States. And that's about as much as I know about this. And so what we wanted to do before we jumped into this was find an expert to come on and talk to us about what this report means and what it looks like going forward for the state of Mississippi. And so I'm pleased to welcome in my next guest this morning, Dr. Leonardo Macelloni. Forgive me if I butchered that name. I hope I got at least somewhere close. He is a geologist at the University of Mississippi. He's director of the Mississippi Mineral Resources Institute and the Center for Marine Resources and Environmental Technology. He is a professor as well. Dr. Macelloni, good morning.
Good morning, and you have pronounced my name perfectly. Thank you very much.
Outstanding. So we're off to a good start. I really do appreciate your time this morning, and you'll have to forgive me if some of my questions are elementary in nature, but I think we need to lay a groundwork, at least first, for what we're talking about. There is a geological formation that kind of runs through the Sun Belt in the southeast. It's called the Smackover Formation. As I understand it, there is a lithium brine deposit that exists, and it kind of comes into Mississippi in the southern part of the Delta and then sweeps to the southeast down kind of through Wayne County. What is a Smackover Formation?
The Smackover Formation, as all the formation that is present in the Gulf Coast region is a formation formed during in the geological past, we say the Mesozoic, when the Gulf of Mexico was opening and the sea was coming through, and we have like formation of marine sediment. In particular, this formation is like a carbonate formation, like it's made by carbonate, and is run all through the Gulf South, basically stretching from Texas, Arkansas, and down to Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida.
Okay. So that's the location.
I don't know if it's clear in terms of for non-expert people. I try to be simple as possible.
No, and I want you to do that because I think that's a great starting point for us to understand where it exists. And Dr. Macelloni told us in advance, he said, hey, just in case you didn't realize I'm Italian, and I have a thick Italian accent, so you may have to listen closely, but I think this information is really interesting. So the governor of Mississippi, Governor Tate Reeves, has kind of laid the groundwork for potential significant development going forward. Research and development trying to leverage Mississippi's ability to be part of this critical minerals conversation. What does that look like in your mind as a researcher and someone who is working in this critical mineral space?
It's a big action for us, and I had to praise the Mississippi Development Authority that was the pivotal instrument from the Mississippi government to basically put together this report, and most importantly put together experts all around Mississippi, because we also worked with the Office of Geology, the state of Mississippi, that are really important component of that. It's very important because, for example, in my case, I was studying this kind of aspect longer time ago, like we started 5-6 time ago, because in Arkansas this kind of opportunity has been already exploited, and as a geology, I said if Arkansas had this kind of opportunity, is the formation is enriched in brine or lithium, there is not geological reason that Mississippi has the same, because in geology a formation is like a body that has the same property, more or less. Then we have to investigate better, but if the body is there and we have the same body, should be the same kind of situation, right. Giving some kind of specific. And I was trying to present this several times to the Mississippi government, and finally, because the things change in the federal government, also in the political world political scenario, where critical mineral became much more important, like the situation with the different kind of war, like economical crisis. Suddenly, United States started to see, okay, maybe we need to find the critical mineral, on own, rather than rely on foreigner like supply. And now we have a big momentum on that.
So China, in particular, is one of the biggest producers of critical minerals. And President Trump has pushed the envelope and said we need to be producing critical minerals in the United States. And Mississippi may have, or certainly, I guess, does have lithium, major lithium brine deposits. What kind of a depth are we talking about? How deep below the surface of southern and southeast Mississippi are we talking about?
Several kilometers. Sorry, I use kilometer, not feet. I still didn't learn to use. Several kilometers depend.
How many kilometers?
Between 2 and 5, depend of where the formation is a change. The formation depth changes, so it can be different depth, but several kilometers.
And so your research is using AI tools to show what it looks like below the surface of the earth here in Mississippi. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a little bit more complicated because
I'm sure it is.
We have a lot of data collected over the time, like geological well that we drill. In general, Mississippi is a big oil and gas producer, so we have a lot of well that has sampled the Mississippi subsurface. The Smackover Formation is also an oil and gas formation. So what we are trying to understand is the brine, that is like a water salty solution that is in the pore of the formation, that usually is a byproduct of oil and gas extraction, is something like a waste. We have to understand is where this brine is enriched in lithium and what is the best position in the state of Mississippi to basically develop a pilot facility that will do this kind of extraction and process. And in order to build a good model of the subsurface distribution of this brine in the formation, we now can use AI tool, because in the past we have only this data, so a human has to go and patiently see all the formation, the data, and try to make the model. Now with the AI we can just give to the machine all this data, and through the very powerful elaboration that this system has, it can make a much more accurate model that in the past we cannot do because the limitation of human brain.
All right. Forgive me for doing this, but I'm going to make sure that I understood what you were saying, and our listeners do as well.
Absolutely.
Some samples and mining of this in the past, there is a brine substance there that's high in lithium. In the past, you've had to bring that out to be able to test it, but you've been able to put data into AI models that then shows more like what the subsurface looks like and gives you more accurate readings of what's actually below the surface. Is that a good summary?
The product we didn't do yet. We have to do this. We have not made this kind of operation.
So that's what it looks like going forward. So are you actually drilling for the brine? That's what you're bringing up is the water through the well, and then you're able to extract the lithium from this brine solution?
Yes, the ultimate goal will be to develop a well in the very best location in Mississippi and drill and extract this brine. This brine will go through a facility that will separate the lithium from the brine and start the process of lithium production. So that is the ultimate goal.
Do you have time to hang with me for a couple more minutes?
Oh, yeah, whatever, as long as you want.
Outstanding. We're going to take a commercial break. We're visiting with Dr. Leo Macelloni. He is a geologist at the University of Mississippi. He's also director of the Mississippi Mineral Resources Institute, MMRI. We'll continue the conversation after this. Mornings with Richard Cross.
From the Venable Glass.
From Sumner to Summit to Summerall, Richard has something for you. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Good to be with you this morning. Mornings with Richard Cross, continuing our conversation with Dr. Leo Macelloni, director of the Mississippi Mineral Resources Institute and a geologist at the University of Mississippi. We are talking, at least, if not directly, at least around the report that came from the governor's office last week, talking about natural resources in Mississippi. There was a summit a week ago, or recently, exploring critical minerals in the state, and this is a project that the Mississippi Development Authority is behind. And so this is kind of a looking down the road project from MDA, when we are talking about bringing economic development projects to the state of Mississippi. Dr. Macelloni is engaged in significant research of the Smackover Formation in South Mississippi, where there is a large lithium brine deposit. And we were talking about the extraction of that brine and the separation of the lithium for that, obviously a critical mineral that goes into batteries and lots of other things. How valuable is lithium to the manufacturing process, whether it be in Mississippi or in other states in the United States?
Very, because as you said, it goes in battery, not only, but we say battery is the most important things. And as you see, the world economy is transitioning to more electric energy use. So battery is going to be one of the most important components in the future, and we need lithium as a fundamental component of this of the battery. So it's going to be very important. Plus all the other applications that we have.
The industry that seems to be getting the most headlines right now is the microchip industry. NVIDIA is now valued at a $5 trillion company. Micron, which is a company based in Idaho, is growing, and they're building chips in the semiconductor space. Does lithium play a role in the microchip manufacturing process?
Definitely. It's widely used in the manufacture of microchips as well. Okay.
So there's great value in being able to extract lithium. We have a couple of questions that come in on our text line, and I want to ask you this.
It's not only that there is a big value, it's also important that we will be independent. So if something happens in the world, we will not be anymore relying to a chain supply that is far away from us. So it's economical, but also it's important for the national security. Yes.
Wow. We got a question. Somebody says that in the extraction process, once you separate the lithium from the brine, what happens to the wastewater that is left over?
This is something that we are also working on, because basically the wastewater, there are very recent studies that have seen that it's not waste at all. It can be used in many, many ways. For example, when you separate the lithium, there are other elements inside, for example, potassium or other salt, and this water is rich and can be used, for example, in some application is used for feeding aquaculture, a farm, because it's a water enriched in nutrients. So there is a very important approach now in using brine that we call circular economy, that we use all the product and trying to minimize the waste as much as possible, and also bring profit from the other portion and make this endeavor very sustainable in terms of business.
Another question that we got is, could the extraction process of the brine in that Smackover Foundation have a negative impact on the aquifers that are below the surface where we get our clean drinking water?
No, absolutely, because those are two different geological horizons. The aquifer that we use are much more shallow than the Smackover Formation. So they are not attached at all. They are totally independent. There are two different bodies, and people that rely in water for the aquifer, they have to be totally secure that they will not have an effect. We are going to be much, much down.
Yeah. Dr. Leo Macelloni is my guest. If you're just joining us, he is a geologist at the University of Mississippi, and he is the director of the Mississippi Mineral Resource Institute and the Center for Marine Resources and Environmental Technology. We're talking about Mississippi becoming a player in the critical minerals supplier segment of the economy for the United States, both in terms of economic development and also national security. So, if your research is able to better show what the below the surface looks like and create a roadmap for a facility to come in and to begin to extract and then distill the lithium and separate it from the brine, what does that look like from a development standpoint? Are there companies that are already closely watching your research with an eye on creating a facility to handle this?
It's going to be, I think it's going to be very important and impactful for Mississippi. For example, Mississippi is one of the largest automotive manufacturer in United States. So if you have a factory that produces lithium very close distance from a big automotive manufacturing center, you have cut a bunch of cost. And there is many other implications. I'm not an economist, but I can tell you any major development in economy is always founded on the resource that the state has, the natural resource. Can be energy, can be water, can be geological commodity. So that is trigger the development of any kind of industry. And we are very happy and grateful to the Mississippi Development Authority that have seen this opportunity and give us the possibility at least to explore this interesting potential.
What would it cost to open a lithium factory?
Several $1 million. We are talking about tens of $1 million. However, it's something that you don't do from today to tomorrow. There are phases, and with the Mississippi Development Authority, we are exploring this. We have applied for a grant at the Department of Energy that basically provide seed funding to start pilot. So you start with a sort of concept of facility and see how it plug inside of the economic fabric of the area, see how is the cost of energy, and then you scale up. But the Trump administration has put a lot of support in the Department of Energy to basically initiate this process, and we have applied on this specific grant, and we hope that we get supported so we can continue on this path.
This is it's really fascinating to me. I think I may want to go build a lithium facility. I feel like there's a great opportunity here. You want to be a partner in it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mississippi has a lot of potential that often people don't see, but I think that we will, with our hard work, we will prove them wrong, that we have a lot of opportunity. And it's also a beautiful state, very nice people. I've been here for 20 years, and people really welcome me as a member of the family, so I'm very happy and to be able to help Mississippi as much as I can.
Hey, that's so very Italian of us to welcome you as part of the family, right? Italians are just a big family.
Yes. In fact, I felt at home immediately because people are really, really nice, like in my country, and family-oriented, strong value. So that's something that really fascinated me.
Dr. Macelloni, I appreciate so much your time this morning. It's incredibly fascinating. I wish you'd continued success in your research, and we'll hope this is a win for Mississippi. Thank you.
Me too, and we are really working hard for do that. Thank you very much for the opportunity to explain to the general public this interesting opportunity.
Absolutely, and maybe we can visit again soon. Dr. Leonardo Macelloni, director of the Mississippi Mineral Research Institute at the University of Mississippi, a geology professor as well. What I understand, a little hard to understand, but if you were able to really lock in some fascinating information there. We got more coming up. Mornings with Richard Cross, Super Talk, Mississippi.
From this partner, the sun is up, the coffee is on, and you're starting your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Hey, pretty baby, don't you know it ain't my fault? Love to hear the steel bells humming on the asphalt. Wake up in the middle of the night in a truck stop, stumble in a restaurant, wonder why I don't stop. Well, I gotta keep rocking while I still can. Got a 2-pack habit and a motel tan.
You had to remove your Mississippi accent filter and replace a different filter on to really listen to that conversation with Dr. Macelloni. But man, was that interesting!
Cool stuff, isn't it?
So, the southern part of the state of Mississippi, kind of coming into Mississippi in Sharkey and Issaquah counties, and kind of making a wave, almost like the jet stream would look like, moving southeast, kind of widening and coming down to about Wayne County. I was looking at the map of that just a moment ago. So coming in Sharkey and Issaquah counties, covering up almost all of Yazoo County, starting southeast, Madison, Hines, Rankin, Simpson, Scott, Smith, Covington, Jasper, Forest, Perry, Greene, Jones, Wayne counties. Just all of that smackover formation running through the middle of Mississippi. So I asked Dr. Macelloni about the cost of a lithium facility. Bill Cork actually reached out to me. Bill Cork, executive director of the MDA of Mississippi Development Authority, while we were talking, and said that MDA is talking to a significant number of companies that are interested in Mississippi. And that pilot plant that Dr. Macelloni was talking about, millions of dollars. And if you're talking about a full-scale lithium production facility, it's $1 billion plant. Major investment.
You said Issaquah County, right? It's right there in the thick of where we are. But, hey, one piece of trivia. Where did the formation Smackover get its name?
I don't even have anything pithy or witty to say.
I actually knew this one because I did a lot of oil trading, but Smackover, Arkansas, the site of major 1922 oil boom. And these formations are anywhere from like 1,300 to 20,000 feet underground. So, yeah, pretty big, wide range there of possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said I was just about to say that I could understand it pretty well. I do some subcontracting, and you might as well find a number in the Chinese phone book and call it.
Do they have numbers, or is it all characters?
Yeah, I don't know. My uncle is working for a company right now that uses 2 18-wheeler-sized containers that recovers lithium. They also have a very high recovery rate. They're stationed in Nevada at the moment. That's from Jason in Starkville.
And Jason in Starkville gets around the country, brother.
Yeah. So if you want to put yourself down a rabbit hole, just start doing some Google searches. You know, what are the uses of lithium? What is the extraction process for lithium? East Texas, big part of that Smackover mine. North Louisiana, very much so. Southwest Arkansas, that's kind of where you're talking about, right? The biggest piece of, or the most significant deposit.
Yep. It goes back a long time too. I mean, you're talking about almost turn of the century.
Yeah.
Where that site was found and developed, and we've seen tons of, shale style drilling over the years, getting the oil out of the sandy soils, getting it out of the porous stuff. It's always been a little bit harder.
I thought those two questions that came in were incredibly interesting also. Hey, what about the waste? Mm-hmm. And Dr. Macelloni said not a lot of waste. In fact, that's part of the research. We're trying to figure out how to be able to reuse the separated water that is rich in potassium and other minerals, perhaps for agriculture and irrigation. And then with regard to, hey, does this have the danger of messing with our aquifer? And he said no. He said we're talking about two different depths in terms of the soil, that our aquifers are actually quite shallow below the surface of the earth. And what did he say, 1 to 5 kilometers in terms of depth for the brine deposits?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fascinating, man. I mean, I'm sitting there going, well, how can I round up the dollars to build a lithium production facility?
Well, if you can round up the dollars, I got a little land, as long as I can still duck hunt it and enjoy the topside. Right there in the formation, man. Maybe one day I'll not have to win the lottery. Just get some lithium out of the ground.
You remember the natural gas boom from a decade or 15 years ago when people were coming up and they were buying all the leases in Arkansas and parts of Mississippi, and they wanted to get to that natural gas. This doesn't strike me as, at least on the surface, that type of flash in the pan, boom or bust, overnight millionaires. Maybe that exists, and maybe if you've got property that has one of these, in kind of that Smackover Formation part of the state, maybe it makes a lot of sense. But when you think about where we are headed technologically, whether you believe in the future of electric vehicles or not, the growth of batteries and battery power is going to continue.
Yeah, and it also has a huge medical side as well, the mental health and medical side.
There's a medical piece of it, and then microchips are not going away.
No, they're just going to get smaller.
They're going to get smaller and more powerful, but it's not so much that lithium is a primary component in a microchip, but it's more part of the manufacturing process. AI tells me this: lithium is used in the semiconductor and microchip industry, but primarily in specialized forms and manufacturing steps rather than as a core structural component. And if that doesn't change, then the value and the need for lithium stays true. And the thing, I was thinking about it from the standpoint of, this is a huge economic development opportunity, and Dr. Macelloni was quick to say, hey, the government is looking at this also as a national defense opportunity.
Sure.
Because right now, the three primary places that you get lithium are China, Australia, and Chile.
Well, when you see the word metallurgy in there, used as a flux to help molten metals flow, it's often used in aerospace. So, that's not going away. And then nuclear energy. Yeah. Lithium isotopes also play a role there and serve as a fusion fuel and staged in thermonuclear weapons. So, big uses, very wide range of possibilities.
Yeah. Did you see that Scott Pelley got the heave-ho last night from 60 Minutes?
Uh-oh.
Yep. So everybody's in this huge ongoing kerfuffle about Barry Weiss as editor-in-chief of CBS News, running the CBS News department, of which 60 Minutes is a huge part. I don't think there's any denying that 60 Minutes has been significant in the telling of stories, telling of news stories in the United States for 6 decades. And there is a new executive producer at 60 Minutes named Nick Bilton. And Nick Bilton actually, I read this when it came out last week, sent a letter to the entire staff of 60 Minutes, and it was effusive in its praise for what 60 Minutes has been and can become, and his respect for the people who have worked on the most significant news program in American history, in his words, paraphrasing, and on and on. And he talked about looking forward to the opportunity to come in and learn from and work with the incredible journalists at 60 Minutes. Well, Scott Pelley wasn't having it. He was tired of 60 Minutes being a puppet for the Trump administration. He hates Barry Weiss, and he hates everything that she's doing in terms of her leadership. And so when Nick Bilton reached out to Scott Pelley and asked him to come to dinner, hey, let's talk about how this may work, what it's going to look like, he said no. And then Scott Pelley completely railroaded the first staff meeting that Nick Bilton had with the entire 60 Minutes crew. They followed up, said, hey, let's talk about this. Let's see if we can work through this. Pelley was like, nope. And they said, okay, you're fired. Back with you right after this. Mornings with Richard Cross, SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Taking a final look from the Venable Glass Traffic Center, I'm Patty Steele. Venable Glass has 2 locations in Richland and Brandon, locally owned and operated with free mobile service for you in the Tri-County area. Traffic is moving smoothly. We are all clear with no accidents or major congestion. Traffic brought to you by River Trust Federal Credit Union. Get your early direct deposit with River Trust. Your paycheck can arrive up to 2 days early. It's fast, simple, and free. Find out more online at rivertrustfcu.com.
This portion of Mornings with Richard Cross is sponsored by Coleman Taylor Transmission, serving Central Mississippi for over 60 years. Their ASE certified technicians offer dependable transmission services, a warranty, and record services. Call Coleman Taylor today for all your transmission needs.
I've seen them. You've seen them. We've all seen them. Those out-of-state fly-by-night tree guys rolling around in trucks held together with duct tape and pure optimism. Call the real pros, Barone's Tree Pros, local, insured, and qualified. And hey, always check that insurance, because if one of those mystery crews drops a tree on your house, they're going to vanish faster than that free donut at the office. Go with the trusted pros at Barone's Tree Pros. And don't forget, Jay and the man is ready to provide estimates. Call them today at 601-345-8090 or give them a visit at baronestreepros.com.
Hi, I'm Josh Quick, the owner of Mid-South Crawl Space Solutions, formerly known as Clean Space of Central Mississippi. Our name may have changed, but our expertise remains. An unhealthy crawl space can invite mold, bugs, and buckling floors. This affects not only your crawl space, but compromises the health of your entire home. Our Clean Space system will transform your crawl space into a dry, healthy, clean environment that will save you energy and money. No more moisture, no more mold, no more smells. Still doing free estimates at mscrawlspace.com.
Fourth and Goal Sports Cafe, Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Plate lunches with a meat and 2 sides. Choose from hamburger steak, baked chicken quarters, pork chop, red beans and rice, or veggie plates, starting at just $10.55. Fourth and Goal Sports Cafe, 5100 I-55 North Frontage Road in Jackson.
Hey y'all, this is Parker Evans with First South Farm Credit in Oxford. Here at First South, we specialize in financing rural real estate. Whether it's a 1,000-acre hunting camp in the Delta or your own small piece of paradise anywhere in North Mississippi, we can make a customized loan package for you. First South offers long-term financing with competitive interest rates to fit your needs. So whatever your land financing needs may be, call me, Parker Evans, at First South Farm Credit, 662-234-5015, or find us online at firstsouthland.com.
Before your heating or air conditioning unit goes south, call our friends at Pure Air Consultants, your local day and night dealer. Tony and his team of professionals at Pure Air Consultants have been serving Central Mississippi for more than 21 years. Contact us today for free estimates or second opinion on replacements, or even to schedule regular maintenance to keep your unit performing at its best. Special financing offers are available too with Pure Air Consultants, your day and night dealer, online at mypureairconsultants.com. That's mypureairconsultants.com.
Hey, it's Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi. Every afternoon, catch the college football fix on Sports Talk Mississippi, driven by Ford. Speaking of Ford, as we approach 250 years of American values, Ford is here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow, who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value. Now offering employee pricing. American value for American values. Visit your local Mississippi Ford dealer to learn more.
Are you thinking about retirement, or are you recently retired? Do you have a plan, or do you have a drawer full of statements? If your answer is the latter, then you're not retirement planning, you're retirement hoping. Risks and inflation are rising, and planning is critical now. At Element Wealth, our exclusive 360 process can create a strategy to help protect what you've worked so hard to build, while still providing growth. To start the conversation, visit myelementwealth.com or call 601-957-6006, 601-957-6006.
Go beyond the headlines on Middays with Gerard Gibbert. Weekdays 10 to 1 here on Super Talk, Mississippi. No matter where you're from, Abbeville, Batesville, DeIberville, or any other ville in the SIP, you're starting your day off right. Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk, Mississippi.
Oh, tell your Aunt Louise, tell anything you please. Myself already knows I'm not okay. Or you can tell my eyes to watch out for my mind. It might be walking out on me today. But don't tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart. I just don't think he'd understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man.
Mornings with Richard Cross. C-Spire text line is open, 601-879-4395. The one plan from C-Spire is here, fiber home internet and wireless, only $99 a month for new and current C-Spire customers. One plan, one price, one experience, zero compromise. Get started now at cspire.com/one-plan, C-Spire, customer inspire. Alongside Lance Tolbert, I'm Richard Cross. Leo tailgates with us. He loves Ole Miss and always brings the best food and wine.
I bet. I was trying to make deals with him during the break.
You were trying to work in the underground olive oil market.
Dang right. I forgot about the wine too. I should have been like, the wine also, brother.
Man, can you imagine the housewives across Mississippi that would engage in an olive oil black market if one existed?
Yeah. Pull some Joe Kennedy, with some olive oil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm in, man. I'm slick. I can get around the abridgments, I can figure it out. He said his brother had an olive oil orchard, which is really cool. Or, olive tree.
I don't think there's an orchard where you can't just grow it in the bottles.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yeah, you got it.
You got me there.
You got it.
Yeah.
Hey, how about this one? From Beijing. A Chinese court on Friday sentenced a former abbot of China's Shaolin Temple to 24 years in prison after he was found guilty of offenses including misappropriation of funds and bribery. That's according to the state broadcaster CCTV. Now, it is perhaps important to remember that we shouldn't take everything that comes from the CCTV as the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But this guy was running a scam while he was kind of in the temple.
Shaolin, aren't they like the warrior monks?
Yeah, so
China, Xi, great guy. Very strict.
The greatest.
Greatest ever. Great guy.
Shi Yongxin, whose original name is Liu Yingxin, was also fined 3.5 million yuan, about $516,000, by the court in central Henan province after the trial. The court found that Shi used his positions, including as temple abbot, to illegally embezzle over 131 million yuan alone or in conspiracy with others during a stretch of almost 22 years. They also discovered that he misappropriated funds amounting to over 151 million yuan for personal use for more than 3 months. That's impressive. 22 million in 3 months without repayment.
Sounds like a daycare operation.
The early Leering Center. The court said Shi's crimes involved huge amounts. His bribery offenses were particularly serious, and his criminal conduct lasted for a long period. He confessed his crimes, voluntarily disclosed details that law enforcement had not yet discovered, and showed remorse. What was he doing with the money? She was also alleged to have committed criminal offenses and violated Buddhist precepts by maintaining relationships with multiple women over a long period and fathering at least one child. Any more than that, and you got a problem in China anyway. The fame of the Shaolin Temple has gone beyond a religious institution. It is renowned for its martial arts culture, or kung fu, which has been referenced in many movies and TV dramas. China's state news agency reported in 2015 that Shi was known as a CEO monk and that he had sparked controversy for developing commercial operations to promote kung fu shows and merchandise. Again, I want to know what he was doing with the money that he was embezzling and misappropriating. We got to get to the juicy part of the story. See, Paul Harvey would have had that. And now, the rest of the story. My thanks to Ryan Miller for joining us this morning. Interesting, especially his comments about potentially an airport upgrade in Panola County for some regional flights. And to the good Dr. Leo Macelloni. Have a great day.
Your home. A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.